You're with your host, Jordan Mann from Project Blokes. We've got Noah Kewen
Hey, you got it right.
in the studio with us as well today.
Yep.
Hey, Noah, bro, how you going?
I'm good, my man. I'm good.
That's good.
Call me JD.
Yeah, you're filling in for JD today. We've also got our what would we call him? Our man Kane Mcintosh. Kane's one of me mates. I've known Kane for a few years. We used to bang tiles down together. That's what it would have been when I've met Kane. So, yeah. Kano, how are you, bro?
Good, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good, bro. Hey, we thought we'd get Kano on here just to have a little yarn today. Like I said, Kano was a tiler. Worked with Kano many years ago. I've kind of kept in contact with Kane ever since and catch up with him from time to time. So, yeah, Kano's just going to come in the studio today and just give a little bit of spiel about the life of Kane, more or less, and what he's been up to, what he gets up to. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we're just going to look at from back when I was an ice addict, I suppose.
Yeah, more or less. But even touching back on, bro, where you were born, where you're born and bred, bro, what you done when you grew up.
Yep.
So a bit, tell us the story of
What's
you.
the age? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What time was it?
That's what makes it the story, I suppose. Because it all started really, I suppose, when I was younger.
Yep. So where were you born
growing
and bred,
up in a broken home, I suppose. My dad left when I was about 4 years old, and I got two brothers and a sister. Yep. So it was us and mum. Mum did it hard. She didn't really work, so she was in the system, sort of thing, and sort of being the youngest child, I suppose, I'd feel like I got neglected a little bit, I suppose. There was a lot of other children, growing up, and they needed more than me,
So you missed out a lot.
Yeah,
bro. You had to fight for attention.
Yeah.
So what years are these? Like what's your birthday?
Mate, so I'm 30 now, so born in 92, obviously.
Copy.
So back when I suppose it was a bit harder, I suppose.
When you're a young kid, more or less.
When I was younger, I suppose, and that's what sort of stemmed it. I look now, and that's what gives me the addictive personality, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a lot of addictions, and I think that's what it sort of stemmed back from, not having much as a child, and then
fighting for
wanting
attention.
anything, you know what I mean, and whatever it was, I suppose I had it, I suppose.
Was that same in the school system as well? Like you're obviously a public school, or
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So only finished year 8. Did 2 months of year 9, and then didn't go back to school after that.
just not your thing.
No, it never was. I was the class clown, I suppose you'd call it. I was always in trouble, always getting suspended. Just wasn't for me, I suppose.
And what was your first steps coming out of school once you left? Like, were you going straight into that type of a labour career intensive like every young bloke would do?
Work. It was. So I grew up out west in Longreach. So
old school cowboy shit.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So when I left school, my mum and stepdad, they managed a sheep property. So we had 44,000 acres, 12,000 head of sheep.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah. So it was about 13 years we lived there for.
Yep.
That was a different sort of, I suppose, a different sort of upbringing, I suppose, from when I was about 11, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's when my stepdad came into the picture, sort of thing.
Yep.
And that sort of opened me up into a different different little world, sort of thing. And
did you get along with stepdad, or was that?
not at the start, no.
So it took you a bit. So having someone come into the life of you and your mum and your brother and your sister, and all of a sudden kind of try to take that father figure role on a bit,
Yeah.
Would have been a bit tough.
Yeah, I was definitely, I found it hard. Trying to fight for mum's attention, and then all of a sudden a man's coming to the picture.
Oh, man,
Just taking every chance away, I suppose, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
And that's when you would have started rebelling then, bro? Is that what
exactly
kind of thing happened?
Yeah. So I suppose I was trying to make myself seen, you know what I mean? Like
100%, bro.
Seeking attention.
You were, bro.
Like the class clown as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I did that as well, man. Like you kind of, you act like it's the saying, the happiest people are almost sometimes always the most sad in a sense, because they're seeking that attention, they're seeking that validation, because in return they feel left out.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yep.
And so like through that, like that was obviously you said around that year 8 mark. Oh, well, prior to that, and is that what kind of led you to leave school, kind of thing? Just wasn't for you. You'd seek out, you'd get in trouble. So you thought, there was other options out there for you? Or?
Yeah, well, because by the time, like being year 8, by the time then, the high school was 200k away from the property. So to go to high school, it was either you stay at the hostel or you stayed with family and friends.
Yeah.
And I suppose I stayed with just the wrong people that didn't really push me to go to school, I suppose. And it just, never seemed an issue, I suppose.
If you don't mind, where did you go from there? Like, where did that lead you to? Like, what?
Straight into work.
Straight into work.
Straight into work,
from year 8.
Yeah, so when I was 14, I used to work for a lady out in Yarraka. She used to be a local roo shooter. Her and her husband used to shoot roos. They used to run the roo box, and then they used to be crutches as well. So
that's a pretty cool job.
Crutch sheep and that. So at night we'd go roo shooting, and then during the day we'd have a couple hours sleep, and then we'd get up, feed the animals quickly, and then go do crutching during the day usually. So go crutch 1,000 head of sheep. Then come back, have dinner, get ready to go, do it all again, sort of thing. I was only on a small wage. That was the hardest part. I was just earning $100 a week.
Holy.
Is
that all?
That's back in the 90s too, when you think about it.
No, this probably would have been
2000.
Early 2000s.
Boy, that's slave labour, bro, kind of.
It
Like,
was,
even at a young age, bro.
Well, my brother, he did it before me when he was 16, and he used to get $300. So I felt pretty ripped when I got there, and I was only getting $100.
And you're busting
But that was
your
with
ass,
you used to get a caravan to stay in, and
all
your food and all that sort of
Accommodation.
They'd feed you and all that sort of stuff.
But you didn't have much money to do anything with it.
Nah, and nowhere to spend your money either, I suppose. Either Yarraka had a police station, a pub, and a little corner shop, if you know what I mean. That was 21 people in the whole town. So
holy.
Yeah. So
and so obviously you moved out of home to go there then for work.
Yes. So I'd obviously live in the caravan. I did a couple of stints with these people. Probably left a couple of times.
Got the shits.
Yeah. I had a big thing with authority as well growing up.
Being told what to do.
Yeah. So having ADHD and all that sort of stuff. Did not like authority whatsoever.
And it comes back to that
what to do.
Seeking out, wanting attention, wanting control. You want to control what you can control.
What I can.
Yeah, and that severed relationship that you had with your family and your mother obviously would have impacted that in a sense, like you wanting that validation and feeling that you're not earning it. Is going to kind of make you resent that authority in a sense and kind of make you act out. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, righto. So going from working on that farm, after you obviously left, where did you go to? What was your age? Like, where did you go to from then, bro?
Just after that, I travelled around for a little bit. I went up to Normanton, just working on cattle stations up there in mustering season.
Yeah, right.
So every year they have a big mustering season up there. They hire in people from away to come up and do all their mustering and that sort of stuff. So I was up there for about three and a half weeks. That was when I was 17. That was pretty cool. Come back down, worked around Longreach on a couple of cattle stations. Retreat station was one of the biggest cattle stations I've ever worked on. It was 369,000 acres.
Shit. So is that's that old school mentality, yeah? Because there's some old cowboys still. There would have been some old cowboys still getting around back then.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
So that's like once again that kind of ties in with that mental health side where you don't cry, you don't complain.
You hold it in.
Yeah, if you show any weakness, they just dig at you, they laugh at you, they belittle you, make fun of you.
Exactly right.
So mixing with that, how was that mindset?
That was a big thing in my life too, growing up. Like you weren't to show emotion, you know what I mean? Especially if you're a male. Like men don't cry, you know what I mean? That was the big thing now, and that's what's harder coming into the society now. You know what I mean? Whereas it's okay to do that. Like trying to come to grips with, okay, well fine, we can do that now, if you know what I mean?
Trying to retrain yourself to actually be able to do that. Like, that's kind of trauma that's set on a lot of people is going back, not being able to speak about it, and then now being able to speak about it. It's kind of like a double-edged sword kind of thing. You don't know what to do, you don't know what to say, you don't know who to talk to. So, that definitely makes it hard. So going back to that, man, you would have obviously seen a bit. You would have copped a bit. Did you cop a bit of it? You would have copped a bit of abuse if you're cheeky.
Especially when I was working, and you do something wrong. You know what I mean? It was a lot harder. Yeah. Back then, you know what I mean? It was nothing to get a backhand across the back of the head, or you know what I mean, like a bit of a shove around.
Old school shit.
Yeah. But and I think that's what sort of opens you up a little bit, especially with work and that sort of stuff too. Like with the mentality of going to work every day and working hard, I suppose, is...
You pull the sickie, you're going to hear about it.
Exactly
and
right,
That's kind of ingrained into you. Like, I didn't know a lot of this stuff, even though I knew you. You've probably have told me, bro, before. No wonder why you're a hard worker now and still got that. Like, now I see where that mentality's from, bro. Like it's nothing for you. I see that you work hard. You're up at 3 every morning, going to work. You're getting home at nearly dark time. And that's nothing for you to do 5 days a week and then go and do some tiling on a weekend, man. So clearly that's been bred into you, and it's still obviously, which is kind of a good thing. But work's probably been a little bit of an outlet for you too. It's an escape.
It is too, yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's an escape,
especially in the last, I suppose, 2 months as well. Like I've been throwing myself into a lot of work.
You've been working like a dog,
just
bro.
just to try and cope with a lot of mental issues. I suppose you know what I mean. And
so when coming from that young age to where we're still sitting at 17, 18, 19, how did you go from middle of nowhere, long reach type style? How did you work your way into the western, the eastern culture? Sorry, like the coast side. How'd you land Rocky Ways? How'd you come about that?
Yeah, mate. So when I was 17, I was working on a cattle station just near Buckhorn, and I felt like I was getting underpaid. At this, I was starting to come to grips with fair work and all that sort of stuff. Yep. And I was walking around. It was middle of summer, 44-degree heat out there, and I was walking around fire heaps, picking up sticks, throwing them back into the fire heaps so they could stick rake the ground to do like cultivating, like harvesting and all that sort of stuff. And I was getting $80 a day, and it was just I did 8 days, and I was just like, it wasn't enough, so I ended up stealing some checks out of a checkbook, and then we ended up in jail, I suppose, and that's what ended me up in Rocky. So I went to jail in Rockhampton and then got out. And
so that's the system at how old?
I went to 17.
So 17, bam, you're straight in the system.
In the system, yeah.
Jesus.
17 out at Etna Creek just for stealing a couple of checkbooks, bro. Like, honestly.
It was only $3,000.
Like, that's nothing like what guys do now and get a slap on the wrist. So it just shows you the change of times too, bro.
How much time were you in there for?
So I got a year all up, but I only had to serve 4 months, and then the other 8 months was on parole.
And then once again, you go from that, it's crazy to think, man. You go from that cowboy, like that yip stuff, and then you get thrown straight into the gang mentality, because back then it was even rougher than it is now.
It was, yeah.
You get thrown straight into the deep end, where if you say something or you do something bad's going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah, exactly right.
What was that mindset coming in? I mean, you wouldn't have experienced that growing up in that 21 people town, or on the cattle property with just your family basically, and no outsiders. What was that like, getting thrown into basically a meat pen in a sense?
Mate, I was scared. Like, I won't lie to
this,
hectic,
Yeah.
And my first time was like when I got to put into the watch house in Longreach, there's only 1 or 2 people, in there. Yeah. When we got to Rocky, we were put in cells with 8 people. Like I spent eight days, because the Rockhampton jail was so full.
Yeah.
I spent 8 days in the Rockhampton watch house before they could transfer us out.
Waiting.
Yeah, just waiting, and so you're spending 8 days with 8 different people that you don't know nothing about. You don't know what they're in there for. You know what I mean? Like. They could be in there for something like me, or something more dangerous. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could be cold hard murder, or it could be stealing bread and milk.
Exactly right.
So being in jail at 17, so being a kid still, like, what was that like, bro? Like, can you give us a little bit of insight on, what it was like, what your general day was like in prison, like, kind of thing?
Just the same as the adult. You just do that. You're living with the adults as well. You're doing the same thing, I suppose. You wake up in the morning because you get locked down up at night. You wake up in the morning, get let out. They do morning muster.
You
go out and have your food and that. You do your gym. They got exercise yard out in the exercise yard. Do whatever you want to about lunchtime, and then at lunchtime you have a feed, and then you can go to gym after that.
So were you building commission as well to be able to buy snacks and all that type of gear, or?
So you get like an unemployment benefit while you're in jail. It's not much. It was $6.50, I think, when I was in there.
Yeah, copy.
And then they give you $9.50 amenities, so like toiletries allowance. So you get it was $16 a week, and then you pay $2 of that to go to TV. To watch your TV every night and that. Yeah.
So just touching on prison and stuff, like mental health wise, like how do you feel like you went inside? Like, was that a massive struggle, or what was your mindset like while you're inside? Like, did you have you had a lot of time to think? So
I just stayed quiet. Did a bit of studying. And tried to complete my year 10 while I was in there. Actually,
right.
3/4 of the way through it. But
that's all right, man.
It got hard. I got to trigonometry, and it was just like, hang on a second, I can't do this by myself. But I got my white card in jail.
So you still did achieve things while you're in there. Like, it's not all like obviously it's not a place where you wanted to end up. It wasn't ideal, but like you still achieved while you're in prison. You didn't just sit there and muck up, or
It's really what you take of it, I suppose. Like it's everyone's going to be different, I suppose. Some people go in there and they'll see the bad side of jail, and they like that, you know what I mean? So they'll run with it, and they keep going back, you know what I mean? They'll be repeat offenders then.
Like, it's crazy, like, you've obviously never been back to jail, which is unreal, bro. I know, like I said, a lot about you, and I've seen the growth of you. So, I'll let you keep talking about that. So going from jail, where did you end up? So once you got released, what was the next path for you?
So once I got released, I got released into Rockhampton. I had a bit of family, a couple of cousins that live in Rocky. I didn't really associate with them, but I knew that I sort of had someone sort of around, so I sort of based myself in Rocky. But being in jail, I did mix up with a couple of the wrong people that did drugs and did all that cool stuff. And
in the system, like this is in jail.
Yeah, in jail. Yeah,
okay.
So like I never knew about all that. I smoked a bit of marijuana or something when I was a kid, but nothing like the hardcore drugs. And so I started hanging out with people like that, and I used to be a lot bigger when I was younger. And I always wanted to lose my weight. I was very body conscious of my weight. And people were saying, in jail, they're saying, "Oh, when you get out, come and see me, and we'll get on it, and in a week we'll make you lose all that weight." And used to give me ideas in my head, and I was like, maybe this is a quick fix to lose my weight and have a good body,
Negative affirmations.
Yeah, exactly right. And that just that caused a spiral of.
And if you don't mind, what when you say the heavy stuff, what kind of drugs were you introduced to?
Mainly ice.
Mainly ice.
Yeah. Old school speed and methamphetamine. Yeah.
And that obviously was something that you got heavily involved in, and that continued for time and
for a lot of years. Yeah.
At a young age, 18.
At 18. Yeah. So I was an ice addict for about 8 years. Until I was 26. I was in a relationship, but it got really toxic. I'd done go play the pokies all night, spend all my money, spend my missus's money on the pokies, and then wake up. And when she'd wake up, I'd have to explain to her that where all the money had gone and how we're going to get food for her children. That was the hardest part, I suppose.
Yeah, it was quite heavy for you and quite hard. But through that, you were working at times too. Like you were kind of functioned a bit, or
so I went in and out of work, doing tiling. Obviously, there was stages there. I worked for the first couple of years. I was working while I was still using, until I got with my partner, and then I just started staying home, not going to work.
Because you had a crutch to lean on, basically, in a sense.
Pretty much, I had a base support. Yeah. You
didn't have to rely on your own. Yeah.
No. And obviously, so that went through plenty of years. But you did end up making a family. Like you've got a daughter.
Yeah, I have a daughter. Not to that partner, but I do have a daughter. I didn't get to see her for the first 4 years of her life because of ice. Which is it's a total fair call, I suppose. I knew when I was ready, like when I finally did get off it and come good. I made the contact to see her again, and now we have a good relationship. I see her every fortnight, so that's good. Yeah,
and like obviously to dive a little bit more into it all. Obviously you said you're on ice for 8 years, and you're doing a lot of the wrong thing and stuff. What kind of led you to become clean and realise like there's more to life and to kind of get the help you needed? Like where did that start? Who do you feel supported you? What were you doing? Like, what kind of helped you there?
A lot of it was with actually you and Michael coming to work with you guys and seeing what you guys had. You were buying your house and doing renovations to your house, and Mick was doing the same. And just showing me what sort of a life I could have instead of what I did have. You know what I mean? And showing me that the life I thought I had was not the life that I was living.
There's more to be lived.
Like I thought I was living the dream, this great Australian dream. Sitting there doing drugs and living on the dole and doing that sort of stuff. And mate, like it was, I just wasn't even. It wasn't even the tip of the iceberg, I suppose. Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Like I seen that, but I also seen like good in you, bro. I knew you're a good bloke. Like no matter what you were doing, man, I knew you're a good fella, and I took to you, man. I liked you.
That's the thing with ice. It's not discriminatory, mate. It takes the good people, and it takes them down a dark
people
path.
People think that people that are taking these drugs are bad people. Nah, it's an illness. It's
not even the case, man.
It's a fucking illness, man.
It can be compared to mental health in the same
sense. That's right. And
I know some really well-off people that have had businesses and they've hit it and it's not turned out real good for them. They've rebuilt because they're smart enough too, but it's not discriminatory at all. It doesn't matter who they grab.
That's right, bro. And that's like that's what I said. Like I seen that there's greatness in you, man. And like obviously Mick was a big one. Mick Howard, obviously, a guy we used to tile with, old Michael's tiling. But yeah, man, like I said,
that was a lot of tough love. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah. We had some good days at work, though, bro.
Yeah,
but like
good laughs.
All I can say, bro, like I can't praise you enough, man. Like I think, like nowadays, bro, you're killing it, like, bro. Like that's my opinion.
Yeah,
like from what you've come from, bro, to what you're doing now. is just unreal. Like, it's a good story. Like, you're seeing your daughter, you've got a great relationship. You're like, what do? You drive down to Gladdy every week?
Every fortnight, I drive to Glasson twice every fortnight, pick her up, and then I drop her back on the Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And I'm sure with time, when time grows, and that relationship will grow more.
Yeah, and
Like
that's
the positive thing.
and that's what I suppose keeps me away from the drugs now too.
Yeah.
Is I look at that and 5 or 6 years ago, I wouldn't have been doing that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, wouldn't have been driving to see my daughter. I wouldn't have had enough money to do that.
Yeah, man,
you
you've
know
got
what I mean?
purpose. You've
I wouldn't
got
have
a
money to
vehicle.
put fuel in my car. Yeah,
That's when you've got your own place.
yeah.
You're shacked up, living on your own. You're supporting yourself, bro. You're supporting your daughter when you've got, you're
I'm
helping out
financially
there.
stable now. Like, I always I have
Got a
money. I
job.
used to live paycheck to paycheck. Now I actually have money in the bank. Like,
Yeah, you can get by.
It's good. Yeah, like.
And so what you'd say the turning point was just being around different people, like just changing the crowd of people that you're with and having different conversations.
100% was the biggest thing to getting off like the ice for me was and this was come from Mick. It was 100% wipe everyone that you associated with the drug. You know, like if they're not your friend, you know, they're just in it for the drug. That
Once
you have
the party's over, they're gone.
Exact, and he said, and your real friends, if they were in it, they'll come back. You know, when you are clean, they'll come back and want to be your friend, not for that, but just to be your friend. You know, and you'll see who your true friends are too.
Yeah.
I'll give that to Mick. Mick, for someone like Mick's a pretty harsh critic.
Was Mick
Mick can give some pretty good advice, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's a straight shooter.
Yeah, he
but I'll
tells
give it
how
I'll
it is.
I'll give it to Mick, man. Like,
was Mick a colleague or a boss?
Mick, I grew up.
Yeah.
I've been best mates with Mick, one of Mick's best mates for years.
Yep.
Mick's got a tiling business here in Rocky. Michael's tiling.
Yep.
Well, Kane worked for him, so did I.
Yeah, so
he's
boss man.
Yeah,
in a sense.
yeah.
yeah.
And like, he's been through
And
his own
mates,
shit
like
too.
same, we're
And
all
he's
the
just
same
mates,
age, roughly.
you know.
Yep.
So like I said, like Mick really did help Kano out.
Yep.
And like,
And
Mick,
you yourself in the same sense.
like
yeah.
business wise, me and Mick have always caught up. Mick's the type of bloke, if I rang Mick tomorrow and said, "Hey dude, I need $100, no issue, bro. If he can give me that, or hey man, I'm really struggling, or can I have a chat?
I need a shirt.
Come around.
Yeah.
Mick's all. I'll give that to Mick.
Yep.
Mick's one of those blokes, and like, as much as I don't get to see him as much as I'd like to, like,
It's
know,
a friendship
hats off
that
to Mick.
picks up like that.
I
Doesn't
knew
matter
that
how long,
Mick kind of helped you out a lot. So so obviously taken from it is surrounding yourself with the right people, having the right conversations, and having the right support has helped you with your addiction, bro, and get yourself back on track.
Exactly. Just having a good bunch of people, I suppose, and that you can trust, I suppose, as well. Like, not to make funny, I suppose, too. You know, like laugh behind your back and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose.
And so, life of Kano now, you just have a few beers and you just like to relax and go to work and be a bit of a family man, I see.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, so roughly work 50 hours a week now, and then do tiling on the weekends as well. So I try and keep busy, especially the weekends that I don't have my daughter.
Yep. So what are some goals that you're aiming for right now? Currently, you're obviously more time with your daughter, but is there like is it a house, or is it a car, or is it what are some short term goals that you're aiming for?
So I'm just looking little at the moment. I do want to get a new car, and just go away. I'm not looking at getting a house just yet. I'm definitely not financially stable enough for a house.
But travel,
I'd just like to go and just stay somewhere. Yep. Somewhere nice, just for a couple of days, and just relax. Relax is the biggest thing.
Yeah, bro, and that's good. And so, touching on family, like, have you reconnected with family, bro? Like, is that something that you?
No, so I find now that I'm sort of I've got my little path that I want to follow.
Yep.
They're not in that path. That I don't see them in that path.
Yep.
I'm quite happy. I'm quite content.
Yeah, you are content,
my path's
bro.
going good. So
Yeah.
it's just always been a negativity having them in my life. I suppose growing up as as we did sort of thing, we were never really good for each other. I suppose we sort of weren't really the family type sort of thing. So they're just not on my path anymore.
Yep. So just touching base. So if there's any blokes, not necessarily blokes, just anyone out there that's struggling with a bit of addiction, a bit lost, what's some advice you can give to those guys? Like if they want to sort themselves out, they want to get clean, they want to get themselves on the right track. What do you suggest, bro? Like, what's some?
Well, the first step really, you got to admit to yourself, like you got to know that there's a problem. There's a problem. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to get off it, and otherwise it doesn't work. And getting rid of the friends too that are on it as well.
Yep.
It's you got to want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's got to knock you down to get off it. You can't just.
There's got to be reason.
There's got to be a reason. Yeah.
And you yourself, in a sense, were knocked down at one point. Like there was that that kind of moment, that pinnacle, that kind of sent you to that turnaround.
Yeah, there was. I was in a pretty serious relationship, and I got back into work and was working with Jordan and Michael, and I wanted to get off it and all that sort of stuff, and we were talking about it, and then
so was the partner using as well?
As well, yeah.
Oh, so that's the negative. That's the negative surrounding.
That was the whole toxic situation there. It was we were fighting, like, you know, when I'd want to get off it, she wouldn't. When she wanted to get off it, I didn't. You know, it was sort of
to and from,
and then all of a sudden I found out that she cheated on me one day while I was at work with one of my best mates that used to use as well, and it was just a toxic situation, and I finally realised when I got out of that and I was away from it for a couple of days, I just realised that's not what I need.
And you could do much, much better.
Yeah, exactly. I need my daughter around me. You know, like I was getting to the stage where if I didn't pull my head in, I wasn't going to ever get to see my daughter.
Yep.
Like, especially not seeing her for the first 4 years. Like, you don't get you know, you can't have that opportunity forever, I suppose.
Yep. You know? That's that silver lining, but that's what like you can reminisce on now is that with that dark, like the phoenix rose from the ashes in a sense. Like you went through all this bad time to then you're sitting here right now
with the blessing.
And
exactly.
You're sitting here right now with your own car. You're financially stable. You get to go on these holidays. You get to do your own thing.
Yeah,
so your daughter.
I hit the rock bottom, and I realised that that's not where I want to be. You know, that's not what I want to do.
And once you hit that rock bottom, there's nothing worse, bro. It's only upwards from there.
Exactly right,
yeah.
Yep.
And obviously, your daughter was kind of like another wake up for you, like getting real with yourself and becoming a real father.
And realising that's not like I obviously had friends that had children and that used, and I realised that that's not what I want for my girl. I don't want her growing up thinking that's acceptable, you know.
Yeah, no, not even close. You want to lead by example.
Exactly right, yeah. So that was another big thing, you know, was to be a good influence in her life, I suppose, you know. Like I wanted to be the best role model I could be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And that's the other thing about you, Kano, that I've noticed too. You're quite willing to talk. A lot of people hide away from it. They're closeties. You know, you kind of are quite open about how you are, what you're going through with your mates.
Well, I suppose we've all had bad things happen to us. You know, like and it's good to see. Like, is my story the same as yours? You know, like someone out there could be the same. You know, like I had a life like you.
Is it for you? Like like we said, some people feel like they can't talk. Is talking for you a good mechanism to be able to release emotions in a sense? Does it help you?
Now it does, yeah. Maybe like 3-4 years ago, I'd say
100% no.
Didn't know. I just didn't know how to talk about it, I suppose.
Yep. You weren't ready.
I didn't know if people were going to judge me. You know, like that was a big thing too, judgment. Now I'm who I am, I suppose, and
you own it.
It's just,
and what makes you.
What you get is what you know.
And the thing with you is, you know who you are now. You know the person you are. Like, you know,
I know where I've been, and I know where I'm going. That's the biggest.
That's right. That was the old Kane. There's a different Kane now, and you know you're proud of where you're going, bro, and so you should be. So, man. I don't have too much else for you, Kano. We just more or less appreciate you coming on, having a spiel. Is there anything you want to tell us or say, or let anyone out there know?
Just don't be afraid to ask, I suppose. Ask for help. I know it's hard. A lot of people don't know who to ask for help, but try and find a close friend, I suppose. A close friend, that's where I found was the best. Someone that you could tell anything to, you know what I mean, that didn't care what you said.
That didn't rip on you.
Yeah, if you can tell them your most embarrassing situation, then you can tell them about your most personal situation too, you know what I mean? If they're not going to judge you for the most embarrassing, they're going to look after you for your personal situation too.
Yeah, nice. No, we'll end it on that, bro. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you filling us in on a little bit about yourself. There's probably a lot more, but we really do appreciate you coming on.
No, awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on.
This is first potty, This is your first potty?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
No. Cheers, Noah. Cheers for being on set today as well.
I'm loving it.
Appreciate you as well, bro.
Cheers,
all you guys out there listening.
Thank you,
just a little bit of advice. What I've picked up from Kano is don't be afraid to speak. Surround yourself with good people and keep away from the things that you know aren't good for you, because otherwise those triggers are going to be there right in front of your eyes and you're going to attack them. So if you can kind of eliminate the things that you know you need to, then for sure make sure those things are not in grasp of you.
And one thing I want to say is if it is that deep and dark point, just understand that there's always up.
Yeah, always up.
You might be sitting in that room by yourself and you might be thinking, you know, this is it. Like I'm at the end, but it's just the beginning in a sense.
Yep.
You can turn that door. You can walk through that next door tomorrow.
Exactly. And there's always someone out there that loves you.
Exactly.
There's someone out there that needs you.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you're better off being here than not being here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But no, cheers,
Always
guys.
purpose.
Anyways, that's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. Peace.